right, 12:02 on the oil stream, brought to you by Boston Pizza. Thank you very much for being here today. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, please tell your friends how easy it is to consume our content right here on EST. EST, of course, presented to you by our partners at Play Alberta. Download the app today, and what you play with at Play Alberta stays in Alberta as well, which is, it's a nice, many of you have all these different sports betting apps and places you'll go, but proceeds from Play Alberta help Alberta-based programs, which is nice. All right. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. Get active in the chat. We'll definitely get to that. And some big news on the Elks front, just confirmed moments ago.
Ooh,
from Hernan Salas.
Tell me.
He told me that if Edmonton loses to Ottawa, I can kick him in the nuts.
And you got very excited about that.
I'm going to hold him to it. That would be a great bit. We could do like a 5-minute YouTube short on that. Like, all right, maybe I shouldn't have said that to Dusty. And look, I'm the boss. Maybe I shouldn't kick one of my guys in the nuts. But you said it. You were right here. You heard it. He said if the Elks lose to the Red Blacks, I can kick him in the nuts.
Yeah, and you didn't say that's silly. Don't be silly. No. You said,
I was like, yes.
Okay. I was a little bit thrown off by that, but I get it.
So be ready. Be ready.
Hey.
For a possible ball kicking next Monday on Edmonton Sports Talk.
I don't think there will be one, although the entertainment value through the roof.
Yeah.
That's a humdinger.
That would be good. And I'm calling that game. And I'll say it at the end. Red Blacks stun the Elks 24-21.
Ain't that a kick?
And tomorrow I'll be kicking former Elks employee Hernan Salas square in the balls. We'll see how that goes over, right?
Yeah.
TSN trying to freshen things up a bit this year.
Yes.
Let me tell you, I'm going to kick somebody in the nuts.
That's so Ron Burgundy. We're working together this weekend. First time this year.
Oh, okay. I like
Suits too?
It is Suits.
All right.
It is Suits. We're down in Calgary for the Stampede Bowl. That was my cowboy voice.
Howdy.
I'm gonna talk like that the whole time.
Please do.
Yeah. Although I think I will work in a call. If somebody breaks away, I'm going to say giddy up.
You should.
Because it's the Stampede Bowl, eh? Like,
if it's
like Kramer, like giddy up, yep. Let's go.
Yeah.
So that's an easy one. I might come up with some other cowboy terms that could work on a broadcast. If you have any suggestions, please text me.
I'm very excited about.
That'll be fun.
The Stampede Bowl, that's a good idea. It's a bit of a marketing ploy, but they got the trophy.
Yeah.
You were saying it on the show a couple weeks ago that it's from the same creators of the Four Nations trophy.
Yeah. It
good. Looks pretty cool. I like the concept. You're trying to get people excited. It ties into the Stampede. The damn team's called the Stampeders, for crying out loud.
Well, and they've always run away from the Stampede. They get out of town.
Yeah.
But this year they're like, you know what? Let's just be one of the highlights of Stampede.
Yeah, exactly. There's probably some ticket crossover. You know how they do it with K-Days and if you have an Elks ticket, it gets into K-Days. That's a good way to sell or cross promote and pump it up a little bit. So I'm excited about working with you guys, you and Suits. I haven't worked with you guys.
It should be good, yeah.
I've had to work with the rest of the staff. and I was like, where's my safety blanket? Where's my Dusty?
We'll take care of you, Tommy.
Yeah. No, Marshall was great. Dwayne's awesome. And then I got to work with Rod Smith. And he is a really nice man.
He's the nicest man.
But this is good. We should have a good call. Hopefully it's good, great weather-wise and a good turnout. And did you see the CFL announced today their partnership with OVO?
I saw that. That's Drake.
They dropped hats and T-shirts.
How is the CFL all of a sudden cool with Drake?
Because the CFL is cool.
That's amazing. I don't like Drake, but I love the league.
I don't care much for Drake, but the OVO stuff is pretty nice. Gretzky Hockey School's tied in with them now. And I want these hats. Did you see the hats?
I haven't seen the hats yet.
Oh, right here. I've
seen the T-shirts.
I could see you rocking the CFL one. I would get the Elks one.
Is there a CFL one?
Yeah, right at the top.
Oh, I'm gonna buy that one right now.
That one's super
nice.
Where's that?
Well, you should just buy the.
Yeah, it just dropped. And then the T-shirts are very 90s.
Yeah, they are. They look like No Fear T-shirts, kind of.
Yeah.
I got some time for that.
Yeah.
I definitely want that CFL hat, though.
And then it's a New Era /OVO collab. So I want the hat. I could totally see you wearing the CFL one. And basically, it's the team helmet on the front as the hat.
Yeah, no, they look sick.
Those are great.
Can't wait to get my hands on
Those
that
are
CFL
fire,
one.
as the kids would say.
All right. Lots to get to.
Yes.
The oil stream is brought to you by Boston Pizza. Last time I saw you, we were at a Boston Pizza, Capilano Boston Pizza with Cody and his crew there. Tons of nasties out. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was a good
New
time.
summer menu was delicious.
You had a bite of everything and then left.
I know. I had to go.
No,
I didn't get to finish any of it. It pissed me off.
I saw that because I had, we had half the poutine each. That was great. And then the Cajun chicken wrap was.
Did you have the other one of those?
I had the other half.
That's
it was
good,
tremendous.
isn't it?
And then the cherry cola sliders.
Yeah.
I loved.
They were delicious too.
Very good. Very, very good.
If you trust us on the playoff menu, definitely trust us on the summer menu as well. Yes. And then the Cactus Cut Sundae.
Oh, that was surprisingly good.
That lived up to the hype, man. Yeah. A little summer treat for you sitting on patio, a couple beers with your loved one, maybe with your lover. You sit there and you go, maybe it's a romantic. We share a Cactus Cut Sundae, and you really good. Like it. That'll be good.
Okay, I gotta look. I'm gonna get one of these hats here.
The CFL hat?
I'm gonna get the Elks one.
The Elks hat? I can't see where the CFL hat is.
It said it dropped today.
I know, but I can never know where things drop. Like on the CFL shop, it just has the 10 teams or the 9 teams. So I don't know where it would go.
Wouldn't they put the CFL, like if it's a team or league merch, wouldn't they just put it in with all the teams?
I looked. I don't see it anywhere yet. Anyway,
if we knew somebody within the league that we could
somebody.
Yeah. There's got to be a link.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Anyway. So those Oilers. Oh, there's a couple of Canada Day hats. That is nice. They are OVO price, though.
They're pretty crazy price.
Yeah. You know, a New Era hat, throw on an extra 20 for the little owl.
So was it like $60?
Yeah. So I would tap into your league discount.
Yeah. I've never used my league discount,
well,
but I guess I might have to.
Yeah.
I guess I might have to. All right. Let's get into this. Okay, we're going to take a look at Oilers roster pre-free agency. I guess we'll probably start where we should usually start, and that would be with your Popeyes headlines.
Mm-hmm.
Brought to you by Popeyes. If you've not yet checked out their snack wraps for the summer, you are doing yourself a significant disservice, as they are absolutely delicious. It's the new summer snack, the chicken wraps. Enjoy the classic, the spicy, or the blackened, or all three, because they are a perfect size to take down for lunch. All right, so Philp, we can quickly hit on Philp. $775, 2-way, 1 year. Another crack at it. Maybe make the roster as the fourth line center and go from there.
Yeah, don't give up on this guy. A lot of people had him penciled in as the fourth line center last year, especially after camp. And I don't think he did himself any disservice. I think he had an okay year, did what was asked of him. Did he catch on in the NHL as well as people maybe had hope? Maybe, no. But I don't think that should be a detractor and give people a reason to give up on him. So they get him locked up. I could see him on the roster this year. I think he's at this point a more effective player than Derek Ryan. Derek Ryan's done, but I would rather have Noah Philp in his progression at this point of his career than Derek Ryan on my roster, and that So it's little things like that. I don't mind it. Good. Keep him in tow. Keep him around. See what he can become. Give him some confidence. Let him play.
What say you? 780-218-9999. Are you okay with Philp being a fourth line center on what you hope to be a championship roster, at least to start next season? Things can change throughout the season.
That's
you can start him there. If it hasn't worked in the first 30, 40 games, maybe go out and find another fourth line center prior to the deadline.
Yes.
Bertom texts in and says, I can't listen live today. I already did give my thumbs up anyways. Thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, hammer a thumbs up for us. But would love to hear if you guys think Kapanen and Podkolzin can actually improve next year. Both are on the right side of 30 and now have an idea where they need to improve specifically to help this team. So that continues with our conversation here in the Popeyes headlines, because Kapanen also gets brought back. 1 year deal, $1.3 million, which makes me think for sure Connor Brown wanted more and they're not going to be able to fit him in.
Yeah.
And Corey Perry's probably wanting more, not going to be able to fit him in, so they bring back Kapanen as an option on the right side at $1.3 million, which personally I think is a little bit too much for Kapanen, but it's $1.3 million. However, when a team's up against it so close all the time, maybe an extra $300,000 isn't necessarily ideal. I think Kapanen would be a good fourth line right winger. I think if you're running him up in the top six with Draisaitl again, you're not winning anything.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think of the Kapanen 1.3?
I just want to acknowledge Kasperi in the nasty chat first to begin, who says, Oilers make a huge signing today, and what are these guys talking about for the first 5 minutes? Apologies, Kasperi Kapanen.
Oh, sorry, is that Kasperi Kapanen himself?
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge that and apologize.
Throw a few bucks our way, Kasperi Kapanen.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little bit surprised that they're bringing him back. Like, I'm not surprised that the.
Do you think he was probably number 3 behind Brown and Perry as guys they wanted on the right side to bring back?
Yeah.
Probably, right?
Yeah, because you got him as a waiver claim, and he wasn't playing every game, and he would have good little bursts for a few games, then he'd go sleepy on you for a while, and then you bring him back, and he'd have a good burst, and then go sleepy on you. He had a good playoff, and that's good. And maybe he fit in well with the guys, and they like him, and he's been around for a while. He has put up points in the NHL. Maybe he can get you 30 points next year, Dusty, for $1.3 million and slide around the bottom 6. Maybe even moonlight in the top 6 if there's injuries and stuff like that. But sure. Okay. I've brought it up. Like, I would be like, well, he skates around 1,000,000 miles an hour and doesn't do anything sometimes, but his plus minus sucked. Not that it's the be all end all of anything, but you need veteran NHL players to be a competitive team. Kasperi Kapanen is a veteran NHL player. At this point in his career, is he a high end guy? Like he was looked at as a Maple Leaf? No. And maybe they had hope for in Pittsburgh? No. But if he can be serviceable third or fourth line guy, then
I don't know why you have to do it today.
I don't know either. That surprised me.
Why would you not look into free agency?
I would,
and see if you can spend your $1.3 million better somewhere else, or he goes out to the free agent market, realizes that he was a waiver claim during the season.
Yes,
and nobody's willing to give him 1.3. Then you say, "Hey, man, we still like you. Here's 900."
Right.
And you save yourself almost $500,000. You know, I don't
understand.
think, like, how many other teams, and just please, I'm asking this question. I am not following all 32 teams and, here's, who's signing what. But how many other fourth liners / depth guys are getting signed the day before free agency? I don't think there's a lot of those guys around the league who are getting this deal now.
That is surprising.
So the timing of it almost like reeks of desperation to keep him, as opposed to looking out and seeing what else is out there and then coming back around to him.
Looking around, you got Beauvillier who's out there.
Is that Brundon?
It's Brundon.
Oh, Brundon's in the house.
Oh, sick.
Good to see Brundon. Of course, Brundon did his practicum with us. He just walked in.
Hey.
Brundon.
Get over here.
Look at this guy. That's nice to see.
Socks and slides and track pants.
Yeah.
He's having a day.
Double A says, Dusty, stop it. You're making sense and thinking logically. Well, I mean, you're telling me Kapanen won't be available July 3rd? Kapanen's going to be available July 3rd.
You know who is available? Justin Danforth.
Justin Danforth is still out there.
Can you believe it?
I can believe it.
Do you think you could get Bukestad?
You think having Tomasek cost them Corey Perry?
I think so. I think it could. I think having Tomasek is not. It's not necessary.
I sure hope Tomasek's legit.
I hope so. Like, you were very honest, I thought, when you were describing what you saw at the Spangler, but you were also good and laying out the landscape of, hey, this is a different type of tournament. He was a relied upon player on his club team.
Offensively.
And like, he has never played in the NHL. I tell the story, I'll say it again. He had been chasing an NHL contract for a while. Apparently his price point was like, he wanted $2 million per for the body of work he'd put together in the European leagues. and nobody was taking. And then the Oilers get him at 1.2, and it's like, why? Well, I still
1.3.
go like maybe. Or
Oh yeah, Thomas Sack 1.2.
Yeah, it's like okay,
sorry,
maybe, and I say it again. Maybe he has a good year and shows that he's a good player, and
yeah, he might
smart. But when I'm getting people from within the organization telling me, think of him as Roman Cervenka, who played like almost one season in Calgary a decade ago, to moderate results. I'm like, why did you even sign this guy?
They must like him.
I don't get it.
All right, those are your Popeyes headlines. The Oilers actually making some news today. Kapanen and Philp, those deals getting done. We're going to take a look at their pre-free agency roster here in just 1 second. Tommy, your thoughts on the draft over the weekend from an Oilers perspective?
They just took their picks. Like, hey, some of these guys might pan out as maybe you uncovered a diamond in the rough. I don't think anybody's going, wow, the Oilers knocked it out of the park. They just picked their guys. There were no trades. Didn't sound like it was that busy or anything was cooking. Very uneventful. I think to me, the highlight was like Aiden Park being there with the second last pick and going and getting his jersey and getting his photos done. I thought that was cool. But that's like just a feel-good story. But all of these guys, Dusty, are probably going to take some time. Nobody's going to key in on them and look at them to fill in any roles in the next few years. And maybe one guy ends up playing in the NHL out of what they have 4 or 5 guys that they picked. But I'm not going, wow, I can't believe they got this guy. That's amazing.
Yeah, to be I don't know Tommy Lafreniere very well, so I'll take their word for it. But there's a couple guys that I've seen in person at the link-up.
I had somebody
that were still available there, and I was like, I think I would have rather like. I know the Schmidt kid.
Yeah,
it's tiny, but scored,
was that the 5'7"
40 last year.
Yeah,
like that guy can play, man. He can wheel. So I would have rather them taken Schmidt there. He went shortly after.
Okay,
and then I saw Lewandowski. He was at the Halinka with Germany. The Halinka or the tournament in Camrose. Anyway, I've seen him play.
Yeah,
he's a good player.
Yeah,
I like that one. And then I don't know anything about the other 3 guys.
The older Finnish goalie, as Guy Flaming described him. I don't know. Just uneventful. Who knows? Maybe there's a diamond in the rough there, but it's going to take some time. That's probably best case
But
scenario.
not surprising that they were in on nothing else.
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, they didn't have anything to really shake and bake with.
All right. RCN, yeah, I saw that Merrick is saying that LA and Dallas could be landing spots for Corey Perry.
Okay.
If he does indeed get to free agency, which it looks like he will. I mean, I think you've milked probably enough out of the now 40-year-old Corey Perry. Like, I think he sort of served his purpose.
He's a good Oiler.
But I'm not heartbroken. Like, do you think he gets 2 years from somebody? I don't see why you give a 40-year-old guy 2 years.
I think you're just down to 1-year deals for this. But what did Chicago give him when they gave him that 4-year or $4 million contract? Was that a multi-year or was that 1 year?
Sorry, who?
Perry.
Which team?
When Chicago gave him that $4 million deal.
Yeah, I can't remember that one. Yeah.
Had to have been one because you had to. Oh, no, it got voided. I'll look it up.
Don't necessarily remember how all that went down.
I'll look it up.
Okay, so here's my Oilers roster pre-free agency.
Okay.
If the season started today, these are the guys that they would have on the team. McDavid between Nuge and Hyman. Or Nuge with Draisaitl. And anyway, let me just give you the... So McDavid between Nuge and Hyman. Draisaitl between Adam Henrique and Matt Savoy. Frederick with Thomas Second Podkolzin. Philp with Kapanen and Matthias Janmark. So that's... And Max Jones is the 13th forwarder in the American League. So this is without any additions via trade or free agency.
Yeah.
Tommy, when you look at this team right here, this is who they are now. And that's with Arvidsson gone.
Yeah.
So I've taken Arvidsson out.
And not replaced him.
And he would probably be replaced in free agency, or do you think he's replaced in a trade with a player?
You could do either one.
Okay. Anyway, McDavid between Hyman and Nuge. What do we think of? And there's some things you can flip. You could play Nuge with Draisaitl. You could play Henrique with McDavid and Hyman. I like Henrique more on the wing, but I know he does some good things as a center too. You could also play Henrique as your third line center and play Frederick on the wing.
Yeah.
With Draisaitl.
Yeah.
So you could go Frederick, Draisaitl, Savoy.
Yeah.
And then Henrique centers Podkolzin and Tomasek. Heck, with the way they've handled him, Podkolzin might be with Draisaitl.
Yeah.
And Henrique might be your third line center with Frederick on the wing and Tomasek on the other side. But what do we think about Savoy in the top 6? And if you're looking at this roster right now, are you thinking improve the bottom 6 or leave the bottom 6 as is and try to find another winger for Leon?
Juice up that top 6.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah, like you're trying to make your team better. Juice up, get somebody good on the wing, and then it bumps someone who's decent down into the bottom 6. That's what I would do. Savoy in the top 6. I would just, again, from what I've heard, what I understand, where he is in his career arc, maybe not necessary to put him under that burden and stress. Top 9, sure. Put him in the 4th line, absolutely not. But if you had him in the top 9 and he can float up and down, I think that would be best for him as he finds his footing in the NHL. If there's nights where he ends up on Leon's line or he's playing good and they bump him up, that's great. But I almost would think initially on June 30th that like a Tomasek gets the look ahead of Savoy just because he's older.
Gets the look in the lineup, or because right now they need both of them on the right side.
Yeah, but like you put Tomasek, let's say, in the top 6 and let Savoy simmer and find himself on the third line. And then in-game dependent, obviously. Things can... What if Savoy's going? What if he's on a nice heater in a 5-game stretch? Then bump him up. But then don't overburden him. Don't stress him out. Don't put a target on his back if he gives you some tough nights where he's, makes a mistake defensively, blows an opportunity. He's going to be a rookie. That's what I'm saying. Just let him find his groove. Like Stella did.
I never saw that. And what a
Joaquin
random
like
reference.
That. Joaquin like that.
Jared is in the chat over on YouTube and says, who the hell is Tomasek? I just got here.
That's what we said when they signed him.
He's the guy they signed a while back, 1.2 mil for 1 year, one way.
Yep.
It's a one-way deal.
Oh, yeah.
I saw him in the Spengler a few years back. He was a good player on HC Sparta Prague, which is Prague.
I love how you pronounce that.
The last 2 years, he's been playing in the SHL in Sweden with Färjestad. I don't know if I said that right.
Close enough.
Close enough. Färjestad. I was close to it. Yeah, Gage your nose. Last year, he had 57 points in 47 games in Sweden's top league. He's an offensive guy, which is why I'm not putting, like, Kapanen will be your 4th line winger.
I would think
Tomasek will either be a 3rd line winger or a
that's why
a 2nd line winger.
That's why I'd pencil
plays
him in
right wing
today.
and center. He could center a 3rd line, but you've got other good options to play in 3rd line center right now anyway, right? So, yeah.
But we're discussing this roster as you constructed it today with Arvidsson out and then who you have available.
Yeah. These are guys that they control right now.
That is the exercise and drill we're going through right now. We haven't added free agents or anything like that.
McDavid between Hyman and Nuge, Draisaitl and Savoy with one of Frederick or Henrique. The other one of those guys centers the 3rd line between Podkolzin and Tomasek, and then Phillips with Kapanen and Matthias Janmark. It's not as good as the team was this past year, I don't think.
No.
780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Jake from Ontario. Let's get to some of your text messages. We'll dive into the numbers game a little bit later on as well. Jake from Ontario says, could the Kapanen trade, and not trade, I guess he's talking about signing. Could the Kapanen signing be a panic move because Brown is probably gone, trying to keep speed with Brown out the door and a right-hand shot? Yeah, but I just think Kapanen would be available July 2nd or 3rd still.
Yes, I would think so. He was waived.
Yes.
Nobody wanted him except Edmonton. Well, maybe there are other teams, but Edmonton claimed him. What other ones? I see this one from Troll, so they should go after Boeser then, TG. Well, I mean, we have Boeser on our thumbnail and in our sidebar there. It was said on Hello Hockey, would Boeser be interested in coming to Edmonton? Is he realistic? And Pagnotta just flat out said yes, which was interesting.
Yeah. I'll ask you a question about Boeser.
Yeah, sure.
Have you heard of any teams he might be interested in going to?
Yeah, a couple of them, and one of them does include Edmonton. I heard Boston, and I heard Minnesota as well.
Boston, Edmonton, Minnesota are what we have been told would be maybe his 3 top destinations.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth. But how do you like?
I don't know. That's the... And I know you and Shaggy on the mandate this morning on the Nielson show were talking about, like, you have to move Henrique.
Boeser's getting at least 7.
I would think so.
So if you do the math on it all, if they can get Bouchard for 4 years at 9.5, which I don't think will happen, he's going to get 10. So 10. If you move out Arvidsson, you still don't have enough money to get Boeser. So then you go and move out Arvidsson and Henrique. They both have no movements. We know Arvidsson's ready to go. Who knows with Henrique? Like, I just think financially it's damn near impossible to get Brock Boeser. I think they've got to aim lower than Brock Boeser financially if they're planning on trying to add a top 6 forward.
Yeah, I guess. But anyway, if that's somebody they're going to go after and they can get him, he gets you 25, 30 goals a year. If you didn't catch the clip on Hello Hockey, our fantastic radio show on this station from 10 to noon.
Every Saturday.
Pagnotta also said that Boeser had some choice words for the Canucks.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going back to Vancouver.
No.
So...
Exactly. Troll also had something in regard to that lineup, that exercise we went through. It was totally hypothetical, by the way. Troll said that roster screams, quote unquote, first round exit from LA or Vegas. Yeah, that roster does, but it wasn't hypothetical.
I mean, it kind of does, that roster.
Yeah, but and then if you keep in mind, you can improve the roster midseason and at the deadline. And they have over the years. And people scream and go, this lineup sucks. It's not going to do anything. And it's like September 30th. You're like, just relax.
If you can convince Henrique to waive his no move and find a good landing spot for him, and Arvidsson's already gone, then you could go. Well, you play Boeser with Draisaitl.
Yeah.
And Savoy as well with Draisaitl?
I could see Podkolzin being on that line.
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering. And then you could see Frederick with Tomasek and Savoy.
Yeah.
Problem is that you get to a point here where, let's say they go out and sign Boeser and you can go over by $9.5 million or whatever in the offseason, the 10%. Mm-hmm. Then you're sitting there and you're well over. So last night I tweeted out the cap situation, but there's a bunch of people who are like, Dusty, they can go way over, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but then you go way over. And then you're sitting there and it's like before the season starts, you still haven't moved Adam Henrique and it's the only way for you to get under. You're going to have to give something up to get rid of Adam because the rest of the league's going to sit there and go, we know that you have to move him.
You're screwed. Yeah.
So this has to be very, I don't think Boeser happens, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but that's no knowledge. I'm just thinking from the current financial situation and a team that needs to sign a defenseman for $10 million, I don't see a world where they can get creative enough. I guess they could get creative enough to do it, but it limits any other sort of additions that you'll be able to make.
Yeah.
So when we sit here and talk about that bottom 6 right now.
But if you're going into this July 1st with a launch or a grocery list of items that you think the Oilers are going to go out and get, I think you're mistaken. Like, I think it's like one or two things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very minimal shopping, I think.
So if they spend all the money they have left on Bouchard and Boeser, and then Henrique has to go as well, your bottom six is Frederick, Tomasek, Podkolzin, Philip Kapanen, and Matthias Janmark. And I'm sorry, that bottom six is not winning a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, it's going to need some more.
There's no way.
Can you start a season with it?
You could start a season with whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, but you're going to need to improve it.
Significantly.
Yeah.
If you're going to compete with some of the other teams out there.
Yeah. Well, they tied their own hands here with poor decisions. So
maybe
contract
Tomasek's a stud. Maybe he just ends up being a stud, and by November he's got a goal song and he's buried 7.
Maybe, but it's just the odds are not in his favor to be a stud. If he's Roman Cervenka, then what are we
Roman
doing?
Cervenka just catching strays, eh?
Well, that's who.
Poor bastard.
Okay, man. Like, that's who somebody compared him to. They're like, if he could be like Roman Cervenka, that's a decent signing. Then I'm like, oh, yeah, the guy that played for the Flames briefly. Guess what he did in Calgary? 39 games, 9 goals, 8 assists, 17 points, -13 with 14 penalty minutes.
And a difficult last name to spell.
Cervenka.
I guess it's kind of how it sounds. I thought there was something else right behind the C.
That's not a great signing. 17 points in 39 games. And that's the comparison. I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to work out well. However, if he has a great season and he's a great signing, what a pleasant surprise. I'm just saying, those types of signings don't really work out well.
Okay, so 12 mil. Arvidsson moves. Bush signs. You got 6 mil to work with. It's not Boeser. Let's say you keep Henrique. Where do you come out on Bjugstad for a couple mil?
I like it.
And 3 million on another forward.
I like that.
I don't mind that.
I think that's more practical.
Then Kapanen or Tomasek or Philp are your 13th forward.
Yeah. I would prefer that because I like depth, flexibility, not having to rely on a rookie and a guy that played in Europe for 10 years and a guy who's a waiver claim. So I would prefer I like Nick Bjugstad. I thought he would have fit in well if he re-signed here. They could sign him. I like the idea of going out and getting another $2 million winger. Better than relying on an unknown European, a rookie, and a waiver claim.
Watch your mouth with that waiver claim garbage. Now he's signed. Now they've brought him back. You know?
He's an asset.
He's a signed guy now.
And you know what? He had some good games, but again, anybody could add him last year. Although you could say the same thing about Gustav Forsling, and he's become excellent. So who knows? But
Bram Marshall over in the chat says Cervenka scored a 35-point face over a full season. If you can get that for 1.2 mil, that's pretty good. Also, Bram Marshall, I just have to ask this, and I apologize for asking. But did you used to call games for the Fort McMurray Oil Barons? Because there's a guy who I think the very next guy after me to call Barons games, his name was Bram. I'm only asking because I've never met another Bram since then.
Do you remember Sharon Lois?
Is the Bram.
And Bram?
I do remember Sharon Lois and Bram. Skinnamarink dinky dink, skinnamarink doo. I love you. I love you in the morning. And that was them, right?
Yeah, that was them.
That's a great song.
That is a great song.
The kids love that song.
Great program.
Babies and toddlers love Skinnamarink dinky dink.
And what does it mean? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't necessarily, but I know they go like this.
They do the little...
Skinnamarink dinky dink, skinnamarink dinky doo.
How do you come up with something like that?
Drugs. I figure those 3 were high all the time.
Lots of acid in the 70s and early 80s.
Drew over on YouTube says, you just unlocked a huge childhood memory for me.
Right.
Anyway, Bram is not that Bram. Damn, so now I've heard of 3 Brams.
Okay.
Bram from the chat, Bram from the Oil Barons, and Bram from Sharon, Lois, and Bram.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see them in concert as a kid?
No, I would have loved to have.
We went and saw, who's the guy that does Banana Phone? Rafi.
Raffy.
We saw Raffy at a theater in town when the kids were little.
Do you remember Paul Ham?
Banana Phone brought the house down.
Really?
Yeah, just as parents and kids, like we were all just like, Tammy's whipping her boobs out at him. It was incredible.
Why, Tammy? Why?
Listen, she loves Raffy.
Oh my God!
What can we say? That or she was breastfeeding. One or the other.
Okay, well, that makes more sense.
There's a lot of breastfeeding at Raffy concerts.
I would imagine so. Young families, young moms, nurturing their children to good health. Was it Paul Han or Paul Ham?
I think
he was more of a local guy. He had a show. It was a kids show, and it was in
a local kid show.
I don't know if it was a Western Canadian or Alberta, but it was in that. It was on in that group of shows, and I liked his show. And we saw him. He came to our elementary school. I loved it. I thought he was brilliant, and that was 30-something years ago now, probably like 32 years ago. Oh God.
Yeah, we're old, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Oh, yeah, Ripsy Step. The baby belugas come out for Raffy.
I remember.
That's funny. The baby belugas come out for Raffy. You get it? The baby belugas?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But Baby Beluga's also a banger. That's a good song, too. All right, what about Gully and the Dallas Stars? What do you think about this?
Happy for Gully. He's a good man, and I think a really good coach. If you'll recall, a couple of years ago, the Oilers stepped up and made him one of the more high-end, higher-paid assistant coaches just to keep him around. As I've said throughout the years, Connor and Leon love him. It was reiterated to me that is a big hit for those guys. Having him
Does McDavid leave because Gullitson's gone?
I don't think so.
Somebody had to say it.
No, I don't think so, but I think it is a bit of a damper on things. Interesting that he goes back to Dallas. Obviously, he's a different coach than he was 12 or 13 years ago. It's fascinating to see the changes that are coming to the Oilers coaching staff, front office staff. Belsey with the good scoop on the Zach Cassian thing yesterday. It's you losing a good coach. I mean, you can replace him, but I think it leaves a hole. And Dusty, like there were people when it was put out there yesterday, they were like, the power play went to crap. No, it didn't. Was it as clutch as it had been in years past?
It was a penalty kill that was garbage in the playoffs.
Penalty kill was horrendous all year. Yeah. But they had a top 5 power play all of this decade, essentially, so far. We're halfway through 2025. And I know you have McDavid and Draisaitl, but he's helped those guys figure it out, and he deserves some credit for that. And I think he, oversaw the forwards as well. He's a really good coach. He lasted 4 different head coaches here. McClellan, Hitchcock, Tippett, 5. Woodcroft and Knobloch. Good dude. That's a loss for the Oilers. You lose a good person in the organization too. Everybody liked him. Universally loved.
All right. So we'll see. You know what? That would be good for Knobloch to get some fresh faces on the bench.
Sure.
Right. He's kind of just been thrown into a staff that has been dictated for him.
Yep.
Right. So we'll see if this allows him to get some of his guys.
I know a radio play-by-play, a radio color commentator that could help him on the bench.
Staff called Tommy, not me.
You didn't call me.
No, I said, but I'm telling him to call you.
Oh yeah, no.
I don't want him coming at me.
What?
For being
if he's saying he can block shots in the nude to help the team win the cup, I'm sure he would accept a assistant coaching vacancy position with.
I don't think so. I think Staff is brass or nothing.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? He's not going to slum it on the bench. That guy's straight from the booth to the box with Bowman and Jackson.
Drew Remenda was an assistant coach.
But that was before doing the color, wasn't it?
But he was like a video guy with hockey or Canada Hockey Canada.
Either way, I don't think it's the answer.
I know. I'm just teasing.
But as RCN says over in the chat, I got some time for Bruce Boudreau being on that bench. Knobloch just as calm and cool as possible. And
there's
Bruce, Homer Simpson choking players on the bench. I think that would be I think that would be pretty phenomenal. I got a little bit of time for that one for sure.
That would be amazing.
All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Dusty, have you already forgotten about enjoying a Raffy sandwich on the CFL broadcast? It wasn't Raffy. That was the Fred Penner sandwich. And I'll never forget it because that thing was massive, and I got to meet Fred Penner.
And he was excellent.
He killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. I mean, Fred Penner is the truth in the music game.
A gentle, and he would roll through the log. Remember when
he walked through the log, he could crawl through it. He crawled through that log.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was one time there was a Mr. Dress Up Fred Penner.
I was just going to bring that up.
And as a kid, I was like, that Vince McMahon
what is
meme.
Happening?
Just like, that's when you get to school the next day in like grade 3 and like, did you see what bloody happened on TV yesterday? Fred Penner and Mr. Dress Up had a crossover. The Fred Penner sandwich, that was in Winnipeg. He's a Winnipeg guy. And they did a big sandwich there for him. And when I was walking to the broadcast booth, I saw him sitting in like a green room, and I popped in. I said, I'm just doing it. I'm just shooting my shot.
Yeah, you got it.
This is like somebody with like Sidney Sweeney nowadays, but I'm like, it's Fred Penner. I'm going to say hi. So I knocked on the door and I was like, hey, Fred, it was totally like Wayne's World where I was like, my past. I'm like, is this cool?
Yeah.
Can I see you? And Fred Penner he went like this. And then I got down on my knees and I said, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
You're worthy. Get up.
And then I was
up.
like, word bird. What's it gonna say? But he was really nice. I said, sorry, I grew up. You're a huge fan. I was a huge fan. And he's like, oh, thank you. But I interrupted his dinner, which
whatever
is kind of but I had to talk to the guy. He was a hero. I texted my sisters right away. I was like, I just met Fred Penner. And they're like, holy, like it was a big moment for the Nielson family. It was, that's like a top 10 broadcast career highlight.
Speaking of Drew Remenda and interrupting dinners, in LA, I didn't know this, but I was having the pregame meal in the media lounge, and at the table with me was Dr. Drew. He was like a TV doctor.
Okay.
You know, kind of
Why
like
was
Dr.
he there?
Oz. He was there for the game, but he was having the media meal, and he was like across from me at the table. I had no idea who he was.
Oh, old white guy.
And Drewski from Ramuski went up to him. He says something like, as a fellow Drew, big fan. And Drew is really good at like saying hi to celebrities and stuff. And Dr. Drew like dabbed his face and just gave him like a great firm handshake and talked to him. Very, very good with his time. But I somehow remember that. I'm like, who the hell is that? I went to Drew after. I'm like, who was that guy? He's like, you don't know Dr. Drew? I'm like, no I don't watch daytime television.
Watch Dr. Drew.
Anyway, I did not acknowledge him, and I don't feel bad about it.
Double A says, put Bruce on the bench only if he can continue his bi-weekly segments on the morning show.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. That was so amazing this year, having Bruce on talking wrestling and then hockey sometimes as well. Troll says, remember the Friendly Giant TV show?
Look up. Look
way up. And I'll call Rusty. Isn't that what he would say? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to go back and watch that now. That show must have been kind of creepy.
Remember the little rocking chair?
Yeah, he would move it around. Yeah.
You're like, what do you mean, dog?
Yeah. You know what? When I was a kid, I remember this. When I was a kid in the bathtub, when my mom and dad would be washing my hair, they'd say, look up, look way up. And I'd look up and they say, and then they would wash my hair.
They wash your hair because you don't want to get in your eyes.
Yeah. That's a good, what a nice little trip down memory lane here.
Yeah.
This is what happens when the team you cover has like no cap space.
That's right.
Right before free agency.
You speculate for 10 minutes.
Makes it somewhat difficult. All right, let's dive into your numbers game. Of course, for Play Alberta, we should have that Lock Shop Partner Parlay. It should be up now. I love seeing our own bets continue to populate the site. Click on EST Specials. There it is. The Lock Shop Partner Parlay from the Lock Shop today. Bombers -2.5. Elks +3.5. It's boosted. We'll probably have it up there for one day with the boost. It's 2-1. That's +200. Bombers -2.5. The line was 3.5. We moved it down. And then the Elks +3.5. The line was 2.5. I moved it up. And it gets us to +200. So if you want to ride with us on, this is an early line. I think the lines are off a little bit, so we got to take advantage of that. So Bombers -2.5, Elks +3.5, a 2-1 at Play Alberta. Use the code today, EST Sports. We'll have new codes tomorrow. So use the code today, EST Sports. and deposit $20, get a $50 free bet, and be ready for the new codes tomorrow. If you're watching over on YouTube today, smash the thumbs up for us. That would be greatly appreciated. We're 32 away from changing 100. It's almost 300 of you watching, so it's easy to be able to do that right now. So give us a thumbs up, sub to the channel if you haven't already. We will not be disappearing for the summer. We will be talking Oilers a lot for the next 2 to 3 months. And we'll have you covered with all of the offseason speculation and possible lineup combinations. All right, so Vancouver has 3 goalies. That's the numbers game.
Yeah.
Is there any way the Oilers can take advantage of this situation?
Try to get Shelovs?
Well, Shelovs would be different. See you later, Brendan. Good seeing you, buddy.
Hi, Brendan.
Shelovs would be different for sure. Like he had a really good year this year.
Yeah, and then
we've seen some flashes of him
Calder Cup
in the NHL. Put together, some pretty good performances as well. His career NHL save percentage is way too small sample size, but it's .880 with a 3.13.
Yeah, but he only played like 9 regular season games. If I'm not
He's played 19 regular season games. And then he played that one year. He played the 10 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He'd be different.
But you couldn't put all your chips into one basket.
No. I mean, to me, Shelovs is a Skinner Shelovs thing, because they're not taking a goalie back anyway.
Right. You'd have to, like if you were to hypothetically go down that road, you'd have to think, okay, we think Shelovs is a better alternative to Pickard, who gave you an outstanding backup goaltending season. You'd have to really buy in and think that Shelovs could push Skinner. And then you'd have to go to Vancouver. What's the price?
Why are they going to do that?
I don't know.
They'll trade that guy anywhere else before Edmonton.
Probably.
Mind you, they just did business on the Evander Kane front.
Yeah.
Evander Kane, it was up in the chat. It's all over Twitter now, but Evander Kane was jumped at a bar in Vancouver over the weekend.
Yeah, awful.
We'll see. Somebody said there would be a video coming out eventually.
Yeah, just leave it there.
Not that you necessarily need to go see it.
That's awful.
Yeah. Needed some medical treatment, but apparently will be okay. 78021. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's one of the teams that going to have 3 goaltenders, and one of them's going to have to go through waivers, or you're going to have to keep all 3.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have to acquire one. So I don't know. Is there a way that the Oilers can take advantage of? I
think they
kind of team in that
did
spot.
Take advantage of Vancouver already.
Already with the Kane thing.
Yeah.
Corey the Butcher's in and says the friendly giant was creepy. I mean, who keeps a rooster in a sack on the wall? Says the guy who has dead chickens laying all over his place of business
and
right now.
Succulent beef and pork product hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, of all the people to call somebody out for having a rooster on the wall, Corey the Butcher, I don't know if that's going to fly with me.
What was that rooster doing in that sack?
Nobody knows. I don't remember Friendly Giant. I know we watched it a ton.
What was the
but I don't
draft's
remember
name,
the whole thing. But you was that Friendly Giant? Zach comes here. What shows did you watch as a kid, Zach? I know
Zubali Zoo.
What would you have watched? Would you have watched?
Zubali Zoo?
What would you have watched 22 years ago? Like, what were you watching when you were 3, 4, 5 years old?
Tupi and Binu was a big one.
I've
Not
heard of
much
that one.
Caillou.
Caillou frustrates the living
SpongeBob a
Jesus
little
out of
bit.
me.
Backyardigans was a big one as well.
Backyardigans.
Backyardigans was huge.
Never heard of it.
Recess still a good
Recess,
one?
yeah, I checked
good
in.
show.
Yeah, I love
What
that
about
show as a kid.
Rugrats?
Rugrats, yeah, that was
Rugrats,
another option as
fantastic.
well.
Rugrats
Tupi
was
and
good.
Binu when I was a young boy. Definitely one of the big ones.
Tupi
but
and
SpongeBob
Bino.
took over.
What are those guys about?
They're about crazy stuff, just everything imaginary, man. Like it was like it looked like a color book almost, sort of in a way. Like it was all like sketches. It wasn't fully filled out, the animation, so it kind of all looked like a little painting and stuff like that. But I forget which one was like a stuffed animal. One of them was a stuffed animal, and the other one was like a hippo-looking guy.
Okay.
It's a really weird combo.
Were they another idea emanating from a crazy acid or drug trip?
I'm not sure. Maybe, but
likely,
yeah,
it sounds
Blue's
like.
Clues. There's another one.
Yeah, that was a good
Blue's
one.
Clues. I've heard that one's pretty
Max
popular.
and Ruby.
We're a big Bluey family.
I probably would have been on
And
Bluey. Too.
Bluey
Yeah,
is
Bluey's
Australian,
classic.
I'm understanding.
Yeah, Bluey's
Is it?
hilarious.
But people love
the dad
Bluey.
on Bluey is, I don't know if you watch Modern Family, but Phil Dunphy.
Yeah.
The dad on Bluey is just like dog version of Phil Dunphy.
Really?
He's the best.
Phil Dunphy's great. WTF? Why the face?
Yeah. Did you know that the giant on the Friendly Giants name was actually Friendly?
No.
So I'm reading this right now.
Come on.
From What a Run. The Friendly Giant was a children's television program that aired on CBC television from September 30th, 58. That was before my dad was born. My dad was born in 59. My mom was 63. So they grew up on Friendly Giant. And then it went through until 85. It featured main characters, a giant named Friendly, who lived in a huge castle with his puppet friends, Rusty a rooster and Jerome the giraffe.
Yeah.
But I did not know his name was actually Friendly.
In real life is Friendly or the
No,
Giants
not in
name?
real life.
Okay. I was like, what kind of... What is
You
happening?
thought the guy who played the Giants' real life name was Friendly.
I thought that's what you were saying. I'm like, what is happening here?
In the show, I guess it was called The Friendly Giant, but his name was Friendly in the
Okay,
show.
that
It was
makes more
played
sense.
by a guy named Bob, Tommy.
That makes a lot more sense.
Can you imagine if the guy who played the Friendly Giant, his real life name was Friendly?
Well, we have a movie coming out called Happy Gilmore 2. Your name Happy? Yeah. Like, some people are weird, man.
God, that's too funny.
In Lloyd, when I was anchoring news, at the end of the news show, you would always do like good news stories or interesting, quirky ones.
Yeah, what do we call him? A kicker.
A kicker.
It
Yeah.
makes it a kicker story.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember they had baby names 2008 or something like that. And they had like the most popular ones, and then they had the rarest ones. Somebody in Canada in 2008 named their child White Angel Victoria. So when you tell me somebody was named Friendly,
Yeah.
I
But
almost
the guy
believe
who
it.
did
Yes.
that's
I vividly
too good.
remember reading, and someone named their child White Angel Victoria. It stands out to me to this day.
it's quite the name.
And that's why when you say his actual name was Friendly, I'm like, okay, there's some weird names out there.
All right, what's coming up on EST Afternoons?
We'll be recapping the draft big time. Byron Bader, the creator of Hockey Prospecting, will be hopping on. He'll be phoning in. Lots of Oilers discussion surrounding Philp and Kapanen's extension with the team, touching on some rumors, whatever has been brought up about Brock Boeser and Glenn Gulletson and all that stuff like that. Hernan and Gage got you covered for that. They'll recap week 4 CFL, tons of stuff as well on F1 and all the moves around the NHL.
All
so
the
it
auto
should
racing,
be a busy show.
How about Antonelli taking out Max on the first lap?
I know, that was
like,
hilarious.
ooh.
Yeah.
And then I saw Max's radio reaction, but then I think when he saw it was Kimmy, he probably wasn't as mad. Still mad and annoyed, but not as
mad. So that's nice.
He just went hard into that hairpin term.
All right, EST Afternoons is on the way next with Hernan and Gager. And then we'll have the Reed Wilkins show today from 3 until 6. And then tomorrow, 10 a.m., a EST free agency special. Maddie and Reed, I think, are going to be in studio. You're going to connect. I'll probably connect as well. Probably from home if we're already going to have Matt and Reed in here. So that'll be good. We'll have it covered for you starting at 10 o'clock tomorrow. For everybody else, definitely enjoy your Canada Day. And I'll chat with you Wednesday morning at 6 o'clock. For Tom Gazzola, I'm Dustin Nielson. Take it easy.